Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Jaya Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Jai Jai Radha Madhav Hari Radha Madhav Hari Radha Jai Jai Radha Madhav Hari Jai Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Jai Jai Radha Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. की जय श्री राधा माधव हरि की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवतु कीनैकी। Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, text number 10. Aya pitat karana nisayana nana manorath diya chhan bhagna nidra rachana risayopi deva yusmat prasanga vimukta iya sansaranti. Aya pitat karana nisayana nana manorath diya chhan bhagna nidra दैवातात रचना ऋषयोऽपि देव युष्मत् प्रसंग विमुखा इह संसरन्ति। तात करणानि निशयाना नाना मनोरथ दिया क्षण भग्न निद्रा दैवातात रचना ऋषयोऽपि देव युष्मत् प्रसंग विमुखा इह संसरन्ति। अय्यापृतार्थकरणानि सिनिशयाना नानामनोरथरियाक्षणभग्ननिद्रा दैवातार्थरचना ऋषयोऽपि देव दैवातार्थरचना ऋषयोऽपि देव प्रसंगविमुखाय संसरन्ति. The word by word translation put by Benjay Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. During the daytime, aprita engaged, artha distressing engagement, karana senses, nisi at night, nisayana insomnia, nana various, manoratha mental speculations, iya by intelligence, hana constantly, bhagna broken, nidra sleep, daiva superhuman, ahatartha frustrated, ratana plan, rishaya great sages, also deva O my Lord, Yusmat, your lordships, topic, Vimuk, Vimukha, turn against, Iha, in this material world, Samsaranti, do rotate. Translation. Thus, non-devotees engage their senses in very troublesome and extensive work, and they suffer insomnia at night because their intelligence constantly breaks their sleep with various mental speculations. They are frustrated in all their best plans by supernatural power. If they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world. Please repeat. Such non-devotees engage their senses very troublesome and extensive work, and they suffer insomnia at night because their intelligence constantly breaks their sleep with various mental speculations. They are frustrated in all their various plans. Power. Even great sages, if they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world. So Brahmaji, so lot of investigations going around the lotus Not finding anything, finally concentrated his mind and senses and meditated on the Supreme. And eventually he was revealed how lotus, and on the bottom of the lotus, a great personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was lying down, and the lotus sprang from his navel pit, and that lotus was the origin of the universe, and then Brahma was on the top of the lotus. So after this revelation and seeing the beautiful form of the Lord in the lotus, at the bottom of the lotus, Brahmaji became inclined toward uh, creating the universe and creating the populations. Then he saw the creative energy also. So now he is praying to the Supreme Lord and to the external creative energy also, so that eventually by this prayer, Lord becomes pleased and he will give blessing so that he can create progeny. So today's verse is more about on our our suffering in this material world, that non-devotees suffer very tremendously in this world. Uh, as we all know, people are working hard day and night trying to make their life going. Most people are so frustrated. What you doing? They will most man usually they will say, I just keep the day going, you know, because they are very much frustrated on every endeavor. They are not sure what they're doing. They just want to keep themselves going. In today's verse, it says they do their very extensive. They engage themselves in very troublesome and extensive work. The work is so much, and the gain is very little. So all day long, they get up early 3 o'clock, rush to the work, and then in their work, they are doing extensive work, which is simply a mental speculation. And then when they come back, they get off the work at 6 o'clock, and then again they head back to the house, and then try to sleep at night. But night they cannot sleep because they have insomnia, and their intelligence constantly breaks their sleep. So they try to speculate various things. Because of that, the sleep gets broken. And in this way, they are frustrated in all their various plans. So many plans they create. Some people stay awake all night long and they think how I'm going to make my business success. You know, they continually think to. Huh? So text number 10. They and then they are always frustrated because Brahmaji says that power frustrates the plans of a living being. How many plans people create? So many plans, they continually change their job because every job they try to do, they are frustrated. Because unless and until person is engaged in full devotional service, plans are rarely works. Someone plans there is a real gain in life, he plans something, but by the time he executes this plan, he enjoys that plan, not the person who has planned it. So this way they are all frustrated in their endeavor. So many plans, they say you plan one thing, if it doesn't work, plan another one. If it doesn't work, again plan another one. This way, karmics continually want to change their plan so that eventually something will work. But really, there is a supernatural power that frustrates every plan that we make. Every time we get moroseness and thing does not work, then we have become morose. Oh, I planned so much, I endeavored so much, I wasted my time and energy and money, but look at the plan. It turned against me. So this is how treated in our plans. Especially if we are not Krishna consciousness. Even in Krishna consciousness, if we are partially surrendered, then there are Krishna conscious plans that we do, they are also stated. Various plans by supernatural power. Even great sages, if they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world. The great sages have their own places where they do these sort of plans. It says that there is a Rishi Loka, the great sages, a planet of great sages, where they continually meditate on the Supreme Person. So if the great sages also uh, make such plan against the without full-fledged surrender, they also rotate in this cycle of birth and death in the material world. In many instances, many places in Bhagavatam, it explains like how great sages, where they are, they again, when the total annihilation happens, when they come back, again they become great sages. And this way they stay continually rotating in the cycle of birth and death. It doesn't matter whether you are in knowledge or you are not in knowledge. Full-fledged surrender to the Supreme Person, and you are not delivered to the spiritual planet, that long you must rotate and continue the thing you are doing. Even the great sages have to come back and do the same sort of cycles they have done previously. Put is described in the previous verse. People who have no taste for the devotional service of the Lord are occupied in material engagements. Most of them engage during the daytime in hard physical labor. Their senses are engaged very extensively in troublesome duties in the gigantic plant, heavy industrial enterprise. The owner of such factories are engaged in finding a market for their industrial products, and the laborers are engaged in extensive production involving huge mechanical arrangements. Factory is another name for hell. At night, hellishly engaged persons take advantage of wine and women to satisfy their tired senses, but they are not even able to have sound sleep. Various mental speculative plans constantly interrupt their sleep. Because they suffer from insomnia, sometimes they feel sleepy in the morning for lack of sufficient rest. By the arrangement of supernatural power, even the great scientists and thinkers of the world suffer frustrations of their various plans and thus rot in the material world birth after birth. So same thing is Prabhupada explains. We see Phoenix also has a lot of great factories and plants, when you Shri Madhava Hari ki jai, Srinathji Gopal ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. We also have many, many great plants. If you go inside these plants, they have such heavy metal work or cranes and things picking up so many onwards. It's so frustrating to see people are engaged. They have this hat they wear and they are just like a machine. They are working day and night, whole day, whole night in this big factory. Very unnatural atmosphere. Nothing, you can't find one thing that is natural there. It's all frustration to see such a thing. But if we say, read these books, then they say we have no time, we are too busy. We can't put time on anything other than what we're doing. And they are not inclined towards knowing the absolute truth. Do is do their job, come back and drink some wine, and they have girlfriends, boyfriends, they have wives, or they just want to maintain their house somehow or other, and then they sleep. Here, they explain how they suffer. They can't even sleep at night time, all because of this heavy work. and senses, mind and senses engage in such material, gross material activities that nighttime there is no sound sleep. So sleep breaks time and again. And then the entire world at this time is engaged in such activity. We truly see that people are all engaged in this sort of work, heavy industrial work. Some of the great thinkers of America, they plan that we should create these various plants and factories, and that same idea is still going on. And then some people have created these factories, and nowadays people are engaged in these factories and doing various works, but they are not leading to the absolute truth. It will not even culminate in some small knowledge. All they do is work and get some money and keep their body going. Such a unnatural atmosphere, how can they sleep peacefully at night? So such a people here, they purport to explain how they have to rot in this material world, life after life, birth after birth. A great scientist may make discoveries in atomic energy for the quick destruction of the world and may be awarded best prizes in recognition of his work by rotating in the cycle of repeated birth and death under the superhuman law of material nature. Scientists are very expert in discovering new things. They have discovered so many things, discoveries, everything is created. The shops are filled with scientific discoveries, products, but this kind of discoveries do not lead to a ultimate goal of life. All these people who are against the principles of devotional service are destined to rotate in this material world without fail. If God has created this world or the Supreme exists, all they want to do is create new idea, create new product, or and they say we can change the world. But how can they change the world? The supernatural power is there, which is in the hand of eternal Kala. So this eternal Kala will uh, keep this material scientist in the grip of material existence, birth after birth. These are thinkers, they know how to think, but they don't want to think the goal of life. What is my existence? Why I am here? What is the goal of my birth? They don't think that way. Is let's create a new understanding and let's create new product so we can market in the world, and with that market we'll have better life. But America, like place which has every sort of discoveries, every sort of ideas put into action, people are unhappy here. People are all frustrated. It says that America has the greatest number of uh, jail people. Prisons are filled with such people, frustrated people. Some becomes mad, some becomes some, and some people are just kind of do some nonsense in the world because of frustration, and so they are put into the jail. The greatest number of jail people are in America. Why? Because people are so frustrated. They want to just do something. Mostly, they are most cases are involving women and children. So this sort of thing happens when people are frustrated. So here Prabhupada says that they must rotate in this material world without fail. Factories to create havoc in society, not leading. They should have built a nice temples where Krishna consciousness are practiced. Then it would be a different place. This verse particularly mentions that even sages who are averse to the principles of devotional service to the Lord are also condemned to undergo the terms of material existence. Not only in this age, but formerly also, there were many sages who tried to invent their own system of religion without reference to devotional service to the Supreme Lord. There cannot be any religious principles without devotional service to the Lord. The Supreme Lord is the leader of the entire range of living entities, and no one can be equal to or greater than him. Even the Lord's impersonal feature and all-pervading localized feature cannot be on an equal level with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, there cannot be any religion or system of genuine philosophy for the advancement of the living entities without the principles of devotional service. Sages have compiled books. There are some sages compile books which leads to impersonal feature of the Lord. Mostly these books are leading to impersonal understanding of the Lord. That Brahman is the ultimate, and to merge in that Brahman is the goal of life. These sort of books are there in the world. And then these books are followed by general mass. Sages do this sort of Brahman understanding or localized up to even localized Paramatma understanding. These sort of books are there. As long as we stick to these principles, Brahman realization principles, then that long even the great sages are not delivered to the spiritual planet. They must rotate in their cycles doing the same thing life after life. So these principles averse to devotional service do not work to get out of the material existence. Human life is meant for getting out of the material existence, but if any book is compiled that do not lead to the actual understanding of the Supreme Lord and the planet, then that long we will continue existing here. There is no way to get out of the material existence. Therefore, there cannot be any religion or system of genuine philosophy for the advancement of the living entity without principal devotional service. So, any kind of philosophy that is composed without the devotional service do not work. Such philosophy has no meaning. The impersonalist would take much trouble in penance and austerity for their self-liberation, personal Brahma Jyoti, but on time, ultimately, because of not being situated in devotional service, they glide down again to the material world to undergo another term of material existence. This is confirmed as follows. So these Brahman realizations people, mm, they may approach impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is another feature of the Lord, but it is not ultimate. It is just some light from material body, but you don't have a spiritual body also. You just exist there for some time, free from the body with difficulties. But ultimately, they are not situated in devotional service. So again, they fall down to the material world and they undergo another term of material existence. Nirabindaksha vimuktamanina स्वयाष्टभावाद् अविशुद्धबुद्धय आरुह्य कृच्छ्रेण परं पदं तत्र नाद्वितयुष्मद् अंग्रय. Persons, Bhagavad 10 to 30. Persons who are falsely of being liberated without devotional service to the Lord may reach the goal of Brahma Jyoti, goal of the Brahma Jyoti, but because of their impure consciousness and for want of shelter in the winter, the so-called liberated person again fall down into material existence. So very clear understanding from Bhagavatam verse that impersonal Brahma Jyoti, many times people that Brahma Jyoti impersonalists are greatest thinkers than even personalists. But really, the Bhagavatam, which is the ultimate authority on the scriptures, very clearly tells that Brahmajyoti is not the ultimate reality. For their impure consciousness and for want of shelter in the Vaikuntha locus, such so-called liberated person again fall down into material existence. Such a clear explanation. So this verse clearly explains that they fall down. They don't go to the Vaikuntha locus. They want it, but because of their misconception, Jyoti is ultimate. They don't go to the actual Vaikuntha locus, but they fall down to the material existence. Can manufacture any system of religion without the principles of devotional service to the Lord. We find in the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the initiator of religious principles is the Lord Himself. Dharmastu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. All real religious principles are all composed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So any religious system that we create is not genuine. It is all based on ignorance. Therefore, no one can manufacture any system of religion without the principal devotion and service to the Lord. As we find in the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the initiator of religious principle is the Lord Himself. In Bhagavad Gita also we find that the Lord condemns all forms of religion other than that which entails the process of surrendering unto the Supreme. Something that makes one fully surrender to the Supreme Lord. All other forms of speculations have no meaning. Process of surrender unto the Supreme. Any system which leads one to the devotional service of the Lord and nothing else is actually religion or philosophy. Only one philosophy is genuine, that is completely leading to the Supreme Lord. Other than that, everything is out of the actual principles, and that is not accepted. In the sixth canto, we find the following statement of Yamaraja, the controller of all unfaithful living entities. These are the verses pronounced by Yamaraja. Dharmam stu sakshat bhagavat pranitam navai vidur rasyo na pive deva na siddha mukhya asura manusya kutonu vidyadhara charanadaya शंभु कुमार कपिलो मनु प्रहलाद जनक को विष्णु बलिर्भय सखीर्भयम् बीजानीमो धर्मान् भागवतां भटा गुह्यं विशुद्धं दुर्बोधं यं ज्ञात्वा मृतमश्नुते. These verses pronounced by Yamaraja, when he pronounced it, when the order carriers of Lord Vishnu came to protect the dying Ajamila. Ajamila was about to leave this world. He engaged himself in gratification to other people and trying to protect his family. When time came to leave the world, he was very much perplexed. He saw four gigantic people that approached him, and they were ready to bind him with the golden ropes and they were about dragging him, but somehow or other being afraid of these gigantic people. So Yamaraja, he pronounced the word Narayana. It was not that he wanted to pronounce it, but he's afraid. There was a little son who was named Narayana, and he was playing nearby. He wanted to get help. That's why he pronounced Narayana. And because of the pronunciation of the word Narayana, the name of Lord Narayana, Supreme Personality of Godhead, the other creatures of Lord Vishnu appeared, caught the ropes of Yamaraja's servants, order carriers of Emerald, and they, yeah, Emadutas, right, Emadutas, and they cut the ropes by their with their sword, so they could not drag Emerald and the dying Azamila anymore. So eventually, when they have conversation with Vishnuduta, and Vishnuduta explain them how one who pronounced the name of the Lord, he is free from all previous actions. There is no more action that binds him again. The name of the Lord especially at the time of death, if one pronounces the name of the Lord, then he becomes delivered. He achieves the supreme planet and achieves the supreme. But this time Ajamila pronounced, but it was a very difficult time. At the moment he is just about to go out of the body, at such difficult time he pronounced the name. He was able to pronounce, although it was directed on toward his son, but indirectly pronounced the name of Lord, culminating of Lord Vishnu appearing there. And then they caught the ropes, they argued, and then they eventually freed the uh, dying Ajamila. And so the Yamadutas were frustrated. They went back and asked the Emeralds, how many gods are there? We thought you are the only God. How many gods are there? So Emerald had to satisfy his servants. So, so he explained the actual religious principles to the Yamadutas, what is it? So there he pronounces these verses, Dharmastu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. The principles of religion are initiated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and no one else, including the sages and demigods, can manufacture any such principles. The real principles of religion are all composed by the Supreme Lord. Vedaita sarvairahameva vedyo. Vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Vedanta krit. I am the composer of the Vedanta. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is the Vedanta. It's a commentary on the Brahma Sutra. Natural commentary by Vyasadeva himself on Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta Krit, I am the composer of the Vedanta. And so Srimad Bhagavatam comes from Supreme Lord himself. We were reading at the beginning of, before this chapter, like how Sanat Kumaras went to the Supreme Lord Ananta Sesa, and Ananta Sesa himself explained the Srimad Bhagavatam to Sanat Kumaras. So this is how we see that this entire Srimad Bhagavatam was composed by Ananta Dev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Sanat Kumaras later on explained this to many other sages and great saintly persons, including Parasara Muni and Vyasadeva. So this is how Srimad Bhagavatam was composed by the Lord himself. Except the Lord, nobody is composing is of such value. This has a lot of prayers. Prayers are composed by his pure devotees, and then all other places, Lord's activities is what is there. Brahmaji's prayer, right now we are reading this Brahmaji's prayer. Only when he fully surrenders himself to the Lord, then Brahmaji is able to pray to the Lord. So his prayers are explained in these verses. So these are real religious principles. Other than that, anything we compose it are not real religious principles. Principles of religion are not. So one more thing noticeable is like who are the authorities who can compose real religious principles. So they are the so-called mystic can manufacture any such principles since even great sages and demigods are unauthorized to elaborate such principles of religion. What to speak of others, the so-called mystics, demons, human beings, Vidyadharas, and Charans living in the lower planets. 12 personalities: Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Vishnu, Bhishma, Swami, and Yamaraja are agents of the Lord, authorized to speak and propagate the principle of religion. So these are Mahajanas, personalities like Brahma comes in the first. Narad, Brahma's prayers are all over the books, his activities are all over the Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad Rishi, Lord Shiva has explained in fourth canto and third canto, many places Lord Shiva comes. Kumaras, Kapila Dev, Manu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Vishnudev, and Bali Maharaj, and Sukadev Goswami, and Yamaraja. These are the 12 Maharajas who can propagate the principle of religion. They can comment, they can also compose the religious principles because these are pure devotees of the Lord, here to assist the Lord's creation. And then they know the actual religious principles, and they are the agents of the Lord to authorize to speak and propagate the principle of religion. 19 and 21. So these are important verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The principles of religion are not open to any ordinary living entity. They are just to bring the human being onto the platform of morality. Non-violence, etc., are necessary for misguided persons because unless one is moral and non-violent, one cannot understand the principles of religion. Has to become a nice man. As long as you are not nice, you are violent, and you have great anger, such a person first the moral code of conduct. You have to become nice, and later on, when he becomes a nice and more palatable person, then only real religious principles can be introduced. To understand what is actually religion is very difficult, even if one is situated in the principles of morality and non-violence. To understand what is actually religion is very difficult, situated in the principle of morality and non-violence. Yes, to convince in the philosophy of the Supreme Lord takes a great deal of care. Not that everyone can just take the philosophy of the Supreme. Even to reach to the moral lifestyle, people go to jail many times. When we show people some books, people what they say? I only read when I go to jail. They say, they don't want to read. Yeah, they don't want to read at all. When they go to jail, then there is nothing to do. Yeah, and then only they read. Other time there is no question of reading. So if we want to put a regular person to this knowledge, then we have to put him in the jail for long period of time. But they go to jail, read a little bit. That's what they say, and it's true. And most people don't want to read at all. If they read one line, they away the books. So that is the case with regular persons. He doesn't want to put mind on, but somehow or other, a supernatural power puts them to the jail, and they read. And at that time, they find no other shelter, and they read a little bit. And when they are out of the jail again, they don't want to read. They have suffered a little bit, and now if you present them, now you are free. Let's read a little bit. No, still not now. When I go to jail next time, they want to save that time to read books in the jail. Such a thing that we have seen. They don't want to read. So that's why real religious principle does not stick to the people's head. Books are there, but what can book do? People don't read. Otherwise, how many books devotees have distributed, how much preaching we do. People come to the temple on Sunday program, we speak so much, but nobody is serious about let's distribute these books, let's get engaged full time in the service in the temple. Desires. They all have desires to do their own thing, what they are doing. It's very hard to stick to this principle of religion full-fledged. It's a hard subject. We don't know how. Only God can put them somehow or other. Some devotees have joined our ISKCON society. Most people who have joined, they know this is a real religious principle. Some are convinced, some are not convinced. Not that everybody who has come to the temple are fully convinced on this spiritual philosophy. Some have convinced themselves, yes, this is the goal of human birth. The Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita is the endeavor. They are convinced. But some have not convinced. Some come way of meditation that they are put in the temple. For some time they will stay, other time then again they will go back. So this is how even temple situations are like that. To stick these principles of religion in our mind is the greatest work that can happen in the human life. Once the Srimad Bhagavatam goes inside the mind of a living being, then he will not want to do something personal service. He may stay anywhere, but he will want to do something related with devotional service. Otherwise, if these things are not into the head, then he will always want to do something else than to the Lord. It is very confidential because as soon as It's very confidential because as soon as one is conversant with the real principles of religion, he is at once liberated to the eternal life of bliss and knowledge. Therefore, one who is not situated in the principles of devotional service to the Lord should not pose himself as a religious leader of the Ishopanishad emphatically forbids this nonsense in the following mantra. Andam tam pravishanti esam bhutim upasate tato bhuya ivate tamu bhutam rata. So, unless one composes the real religious principle, he should not pose himself as a great leader of religion. Many people have manufactured their so-called religion. Uh, so many, if you go and look in the world, so many religious principles are there. Then Muhammadanism, other than Baha'i faith, that faith, some are agnostic. Hmm. So many various religions are there in the world. They all have some little bit of little conception of supreme, but other than that, mostly moral principles just do nice to people exist in the world and do economic development sort of things are there, but such people are condemned by in Srimad Bhagavatam. Unless full-fledged devotional service is properly explained, that cannot be accepted as real religious principle. So this is the Ishopanishad verse number 12. Ishopanishad mostly glorifies the Supreme Person. A person in ignorance of the principles of religion, who therefore does nothing in the matter of religion, is far better than a person who cites others in the name of religion without reference to the actual religious principles of the devotional service. The ignorant person who composes some manufacture religious principles, good. It is better to a regular person who doesn't compose any religious principle is better than a misguided person who composes non-religious principles. It's better to associate with a regular person than to associate with so-called religious leader who composes devotional religious principles against the devotional service. Such so-called leaders of religions are sure to be condemned by Brahma and other great authorities. This is the end of the report. Such people are condemned by Brahma and many other great authorities. They will not allow such a religious principle, nor does it work. Only for a little time it will work. After that, somebody will compose another religious principle like that, and he will be frustrated again in his endeavor. Hare Krishna. Comment? Right, right. Right, right. Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we should stick to our principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam is such a book, it opens up everything. There is nothing hidden here. It's the ultimate authority. One who is convinced in Bhagavatam, cannot accept any religious principles. Once you know Srimad Bhagavatam, nobody can convince that person, to any other religious system. Bhagavatam is such clear. There is nothing like Srimad Bhagavatam in the world. Because it is composed by the Supreme Lord Himself, and it is free from every sort of impurities. It is another form of Godhead. Three things that are here in this material world, that are from a spiritual planet. One is the mother Ganges, is from a spiritual planet, but it is here in the material world. Srimad Bhagavatam is from a spiritual world, but it is here in the material world that we can release this. And devotees of the Lord that fully convinced on Srimad Bhagavatam philosophy. Association of pure devotees also is a spiritual thing, it's not material. To get association of devotees is not ordinary. Although sometimes when we stay in temple, we have devotees, we don't care, oh, he is our friend. It's not like that. To stay in association of devotees is a great fortune. It's not ordinary thing. Those who are convinced in the philosophical understanding of Bhagavatam, kind of serving in the temple going. So these devotees association are not ordinary. It is a spiritual thing. Taking bath in Ganges or getting a little bit of water every day at the Ganges is also spiritual. And reading Srimad Bhagavatam is not ordinary. It is a spiritual thing, but it is available in the material world. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, yeah. Wow.